So RFK Jr., who makes his money by blocking vaccines and running lawsuits and some kind of scam based to that, now they're blocking vaccines for foreign nations based on junk science claiming they're bad for them, which they aren't. I've just heard that even Elon Musk canceled PEPFAR, that is expected to kill something like 5 million people over the next few years because I think it's Gabon, an African nation, AIDS is rising rapidly because that was the main source of anti-AIDS drugs. So it really is appalling as America abandons all the good things we do in the world and instead focus on uh, invading countries that didn't attack us and just murdering people like we did in Central America. It's just appalling to watch the collapse of America. And one thing I said on my main podcast a couple days ago is I really think young people should travel outside America and look at other countries because the state of America is pretty deplorable. And other nations, you might have a much more successful life. There's a story from a guy that moved to China and said life is a lot better there. I think life is a lot better in a lot of places than America now. We've fallen far from our glory days. Anyway, here's CNN. If Trump is now suing Comey for the second time over completely bogus stuff. What if they get this is it? Comey posted this on Twitter, a shell formation on the beach that spells out 8647, which says, it's time to expel Donald Trump. And they're interpreting this as a death threat and trying to indict him for this, with a whole bunch of ludicrous garbage. This will probably get thrown out by the courts, although we'll see. It's the second time they tried to indict him. Trump is using the Justice Department just to go against his enemies, not to actually do anything about real criminals. And in the same spirit, since there was this some kind of shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the right is spinning this as the liberals convincing people to try to kill Trump. And so he wants to punish Jimmy Kimmel, who made jokes about Trump. And he said that Melania looked like a widow in waiting, suggesting that she's just waiting for Trump to die so she can inherit his money, I think. Anyway, they're interpreting that as a death threat too. I don't think any of this stuff can hold up in court, but we'll see. And he's trying to threaten the license of ABC, which might work because all the big corporations are now owned by oligarchs that are in bed with Trump. So they might want to just do anything required to please Trump, although they already tried it once with Kimmel, and the backlash from people canceling their Disney subscriptions was so extreme that they undid it. But they might do it again if the dictator continues to say it would please him for you. We're just down to any other dictatorship where the whim of the dictator is more important than the law or even profit. We'll see. Of course, the point is the dictator has only a few more months before he loses most of his power after the midterms and becomes a lame duck. So more and more people are beginning to realize that it's probably wise to distance yourself from Trump now instead of slavishly obeying him. So the Iran war, of course, is making every price go up because of oil being unavailable and everything depends on oil. But apparently also circuit board prices are surging, so they can't make more AI chips because the printed circuit boards are made using rosin, which goes through the Strait of Hormuz also. In fact, I think they bombed the petrochemical complex. Yeah, Iran struck it. So that's the rosin used to make printed circuit boards. So that's all kinds of electronics, I guess, will become less available and more expensive as a result. Let's see if, yeah, here we are. So Greece has a proposal to ban social media anonymity. Now, Putin said this about 10 years ago. We should just ban all internet anonymity. Everything you do on the internet should have your real name. And of course, if you did that, that would stop a lot of things like spam and harassment of people on social networks. It would also make it impossible to criticize your leader in countries that forbid that, like Russia and increasingly America. And it would make it impossible for people to talk about forbidden topics like homosexuality and stuff. So anyway, there's a bunch of people that think anonymity is important on social media, so people can make comments without having to be punished for them. But they want to ban it in Greece. This hasn't taken effect yet, but he wants to do it, and he also thinks it should be done over the whole EU. So we'll see what comes of that. The price of AI is rising rapidly. You can't connect OpenClaw to your Gmail account or they'll block your Gmail, and you have to pay at least $20 a month to use Claude Code, And they're talking about raising that so you can only get Claude Code at the $100 a month plan. I'm currently using it, the $20 a month plan, and it's quite useful. But I could be running a local large language model directly on my Mac hardware. And if they raise it to $100 a month, I'll certainly switch to doing that. So anyway, this is the thing that was predicted a couple of years ago. They said the current price of all AI products is below the actual cost of providing them. So you have to, this cannot continue. They're going to have to raise the price. And that will also tend to mitigate against the current madness of laying everybody off and pretending you can save money by replacing it with AI. As the AI gets more expensive, that will be less true. But anyway, GitHub is changing their rules on Copilot, and everybody is gradually ramping up the price on these things. So there's a Firefox vulnerability that allows you to identify users over Tor. Now, Tor is an anonymity network, so all your packets are routed 3 times through different servers and encrypted 3 times, so hopefully nobody can tell where you are. It blocks your physical location, but they can fingerprint your browser because there's a command to list some property of your browser, indexed database names. And it lists the databases and they come back in a certain order, which is the same on every website. So it's a way to create essentially a bunch of random numbers that uniquely identify your browser, and therefore they can track you from one use to another. So that's bad. That's like a tracking cookie. They may not know who you are, but they can know that you were the same person on this site and this site and this site, and that's often enough to very much figure out who you are, because you'll go to a site that has to do with your hometown or a sports event near you or a store near you or some or social network, the kind of thing. They'll, if I can see all the sites you go to, they can often figure out a lot about who you are. So Tor is patching it to fix that. And so KitKat, the candy bar company, has a new product which is a wrapper, which is a Faraday page. You buy this, then you put your phone in there, and you can't get phone calls anymore. So these things are kind of useful. You might want to isolate your phone now and then. Anyway. It's a curious idea, but they're suggesting digital detoxing as a brand opportunity, which is not a bad idea. Telling people to turn off your phone. I know a lot of people limit their children to only use phones at certain times, and they tell you to put it away in another room while you sleep so you can't get irritated by alerts and such. So, and it's increasingly clear that addiction to social media is bad for you. So that's one possible response. And so these glassworm are supply chain attacks, and they've come back with sleeper extensions. So they'll infect I think this is a development environment, OpenVSX. I'm not really quite sure what it is, but they'll infect it with extensions which are harmless and only turn malicious later. This reminds me of what China did when they attacked Google in 2010. They would put malware on American company servers that would sleep for up to 3 years and then wake up and place it under remote control again. It's a good way to retain long-term control of your target. So even when they think they've cleaned it off and everything's fine, and they make new backup images of a supposedly clean state of their servers, then when they use them, they're still infected without knowing it. And so there's a huge supply chain attack in action, run by some groups, including from Team CCP. And what these guys did was they got into I think this is the page that had, here's the one that had the best long-term trade of this. Checkmarx got attacked. And they're a company that makes a very important security scanner used by many large corporations to find security flaws in their software they're writing. And it started with this thing called Trivy, which is a vulnerability scanner. And it was an open source vulnerability scanner, but attackers in March got an API key somewhere, found it somewhere, managed to seal it somewhere. They were able to then infect the Trivy vulnerability scanner with credential stealing malware. So a lot of companies used the poison version of Trivy. It stole their keys and then spread to their repositories. So this is a supply chain attack that's spreading, taking over more and more supply chains, targeting developers and GitHub repositories. So it's infecting more and more products, including security products. So Trivy got in, and that was used to infect several other companies, LightLM, which is used by a lot of people, Telnix, which I don't really think about, and Kix, which is a Checkmarx product. They then infected a whole bunch of Checkmarx products for a few hours, and it's just spreading, and it's still spreading widely. So this is pretty serious, and it greatly points out that you cannot trust the supply chain. Oh, now they infected Bitwarden. Bitwarden, the most important password manager I've heard of in years. The one everyone recommends is by far the best. So it's very concerning, and it's still growing. And what we really need is an AI-driven scanner that will tell us if the official updates are malicious. There's been one prototype built of that seems to work, but it's not a standard feature of endpoint protection products right now, but it needs to be. Anyway, that's enough news.